This is Bwete from Mboka Nzambi in Gabon, God's Universal Village. And today I'm going to discuss some things in regards to our work with Mboka Nzambi, God's Universal Village, and to create some perception for others to understand what we actually do. So first and foremost, I'll start with this, that Mboka Nzambi, Ebota A Maghanga are not tourism ventures. So whilst we use material platforms such as social media today, this is not in an effort to sell off the Bwiti spiritualism or the application of Iboga. It is to promote, preserve, sustain, and protect the work that we do at Mboka Nzambi, which is to protect, as we were saying there, the environment of the indigenous Babongo First Nations people in Dubois, and to also have our traditional hospital, Le Don du Vie, which all traditional and authentic Bwiti villages have a hospice, using all of the traditional medicines from the forest, which is applied by the Ganga. We are there to sustain that. Now that costs money to sustain in today's society. We're aware of this. So our work here at our extension and outreach in Mboka Nzambi in Costa Rica, under His Majesty King Adamangana, is to bring people in to introduce them to the traditional application of natural medicines, whilst furthering education towards the plight of the indigenous and promoting unity and brotherhood of man worldwide. So this is a very different venture as opposed to, for the sake of comparison, what is being seen in the West today. So we can see numerous people offering trips to Gabon through Bwiti to sell off the tradition. That's selling initiations. I've said this many times, that's against Bwiti altogether. There can be no separation or division from someone, which money creates a third party which projects one's will outside of themselves and then creates master-slave mentalities. We're very aware in the antiquity of Bwiti to not do this. Now, King Adamangana could have been selling initiations and tourist trips for 30 odd years, and obviously we've resisted this for a reason. Every time that this occurs, and there are numerous people even here in this country as well that take people over to be initiated or to experience a ceremony in watered down fashions. Now what I mean by that is watered down. Nothing that they're being given can ever be a true Bwiti process because the money is involved. So we need to understand this. You've already broken Bwiti if you're selling that. Now when we take people to the village, they are going for their soul, for themselves, for their ability to merge with the great reconciliation of God Himself and to become better aspirants of life. It is not for them to go and acquire or accrue a false title so they can then go and sell medicine. That's not the purpose of the work. It's for the individual to become aligned with Zambekana himself, to be purified, and then to hear their true message, what they really are. And this cannot happen or be achieved by someone having an agenda to be initiated or having a romantic idea of what it's like to go to Gabon to be amongst a tribal group. It doesn't work like that. We're not in the business or interested in that at all. We are here to make sure that every single woman, man, and child becomes volitional and understanding that we are enmeshed within one another and that there is complete unity and no difference between any of us. And we will not break those protocols and that knowledge. And that is the true understanding of Bwiti. And what we find a little disturbing today is there's not a single person or aspirant, even in Gabon now, that is actually promoting that, because they no longer realize what it is. And that's the damage that colonial impact has. And this furtherance of them selling the tradition and Iboga off through these trips that they take to Gabon to be initiated and everything else is another furtherance of neo-colonial behavior, or what we call neo-colonial as a result of colonial behavior. So the video, I want people to listen and to be challenged by this and ask some questions about this. There needs to be some understanding or ethical direction towards going to Gabon and approaching. Now lately, in Mboka Nzambe and our NGO Ebota A Maghanga, we notice a whole lot of councils popping up all around in Gabon, and they're all revolving around one thing. And there's one particular group that's promoting this council and claiming that if no one's been through this council, they haven't been approved and they can't go to Bwiti or work with Iboga. Now, that sort of behavior is instantly non-Bwiti. Now, what I'm telling you is these councils are made through money to sell their tradition, to bolster and further their villages, which they need their money, and to then claim an authority upon a Bwiti. That isn't Bwiti. Those councils are based on money and selling Bwiti, which means it's not Bwiti. The council needs to have the primary objective of preserving and protecting the Indigenous First Nations people who originate the traditions, and from keeping the information and knowledge and the initiatic rites and ceremonies intact. Now, outside of Babongo Bwiti in Mboka Nzambe and Babongo Miobe, there are no forms of Bwiti existing in Gabon now, anywhere else, that are anything other than deviant and have fallen away from the Puritan aspects of the tradition. So I want to help people out there. If you're feeling that you're interested in this tradition, do not be perturbed or promoted a direction from someone claiming authority on this tradition. Because outside of Mboka Nzambe and this tradition, there isn't anyone who deserves any authority on Bwiti. Unless they are wholly and solely promoting the protection of the Indigenous, they are running an authentic village that is not part-time and not tourism-based and not selling their money, selling their tradition for money. Without these things, it cannot be real. So there's a difference, this is what I'm saying, between tourism and what we do at Mboka Nzambe. We are not tourism. What we are is in the job of cleaning souls and connecting them to God. And we use the material platforms and infrastructure to drive a wedge from the knowledge of the Indigenous into the material world. So please, for everybody listening to this video or transmission, I want you to understand that we are available without agenda to educate and further people's knowledge of the true aspects of this tradition that are not driven by agenda, whether that is personal accolade or monetary. You cannot trust a corrupted delivery that is motivated. Now, that's what I'm saying before I go. Ask questions as to what is the motivation of the person taking you to Gabon and offering this, and what is the motivation of the council that they promote, and it's claiming authority on Bwiti. Now, I find it quite ironic and funny that this particular council of which I'm talking about is the newest form of Bwiti, Asengidia. The newest, most deviant form existing. The one that hides behind the claim that it's supposedly cleaning up the Gonde Nadapimra which it derives, while selling the tradition. That's not cleaning it up. So I need people to see some distinctions. For those who are interested in preserving and protecting the tradition according to the First Nations people, please reach out, ask some questions, and just know that we're there. Free time, any hour of the day, 24/7 available. If you can find someone claiming a Gunga status that isn't doing that, they're not a Gunga. If someone's claiming a Gunga whilst wearing non-traditional clothes, or while they're having another job or living in another country or involved with other interests, that's not a Gunga. Doesn't matter what they say. That's a tourism-based sold title that they bought. That's a different thing. That's the tourism. That's what I'm saying. So may Zambekana bless all listening today. And please reach out if you're interested in learning.